few days ago, my GE microwave oven stopped working. Thanks to several very good YouTube videos, I was able to determine that the problem was this monitor switch. And this monitor switch is in the middle position behind this door panel. Now I knew it was the monitor switch because when I depressed the toggle, not only could I not hear the clicking sound inside, but when I tested this with my multimeter, I got a reading whether the toggle switch was pressed or whether it was open. That indicated that current was flowing through this switch regardless of whether the toggle was pressed or not. Now, since there's already several very good videos out here, my intent is not to duplicate what's already out here. But in determining the issue with my microwave, I discovered two additional factors which I did not find previously. And that's the purpose of this video. Now, the first thing I wish to convey is that these switches are repairable. And if you're in a position like myself, it becomes even more critical. This particular model of microwave does not have a generic switch. I had to buy the OEM switch from GE, and that cost me $50. And it lasted exactly 10 seconds. Because when I reinstalled this, I turned the power back on, and within 10 seconds, the switch failed. The contact points had been welded together, which is the second reason why I'm making this video. Simply replacing a monitor switch may not solve the problem because there is a reason why current is flowing when the switch is closed, because current is only supposed to be flowing when it's open. And in my particular case, it was the door latch that was causing the problem, which I'm going to show you later on in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. First, with repairing the switch, and secondly, how to diagnose the problem, why the switch failed in the first place. Repairing these toggle switches is not a very complicated process. Fortunately, they are not glued together, and they can be separated quite easily with either a carton knife or even your fingernail. And there is the interworkings of the switch. So when the toggle switch is pressed, these two contacts are separated. When these switches fail, the contact points here weld together, and these can be separated by taking a carton knife and simply separating them like this. In some cases, if it's welded together too much, you might have to take it apart, which I had to do with the original one because they were welded together and I had to disassemble it. But if you do take it apart, I would suggest that you take a picture of this first so that you know where each part fits. It is somewhat difficult to do that, but it certainly can be done. And then it can be reassembled. Now it's important to understand how this all fits together to make the microwave work. When the door is open, the top switch is open. This one is closed, and this one is open. But when the door is closed, all three of these switches are activated so that this one is closed, this one is closed, but this one is open. If this button here is not depressed like that, this switch will stay closed, current will flow through this switch, and it will actually weld the two points together, which is why this switch failed in the first place. Now that I have the latch panel in place, it should be just the opposite of what was previously demonstrated. So this one now should be a closed switch. And it is. The bottom one is closed. And this one now should be open. Uh-oh. That switch is closed. That's why it's burning up. This switch here, the monitor switch, is not being depressed, and this is remaining closed. When current flows through the system, it's welding those 2 points together. Let me show you how that is possible. When the door is engaged to the latch panel, this part right here presses against the trigger on the switch. The same is done down here. This one triggers this one, but if the latch is worn, it is not triggering the inside, the monitoring switch, so this one is staying closed, and when current flows through here, it's arcing across the two contact points inside this switch and welding them together. I have reinstalled a new door latch on here and reinstalled the monitor switch, the one that I had previously repaired. But before I turn the power back on, I want to make sure that this is working correctly, because if it isn't, it's just going to cook that monitor switch as it did before. Right now the circuit is open, which is the way it should be. But when I open the door, the switch should be closed, and let's see if that's what happens. This is now working correctly. We have used this microwave several times a day for the past week, and we've had no problems, indicating that the problem was the door latch. And even though the switch failed, it failed for a reason. I made this video to show 2 points. First, that these switches are repairable, and second, they fail for a reason. It may be to your benefit to determine why they fail before simply replacing it. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this video helped at least one person out there in YouTube land.